Welcome to Hustle Wing Podcast. Today we are joined by Logan, the co-founder of Mallard Bay. I did pronounce that right? Mallard Bay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
I didn't know if it was Maillard because sometimes the double L is a Y. So I was a little confused. Okay, but
Yeah.
yeah, the co-founder of Mallard Bay, and you're just going to introduce yourself and a little bit about
Mhm.
the company. Yeah. So how are you today?
Yeah, sure. I'm doing well, doing well. Thank you
Good.
for having me. So my name's Logan Meaux. I'm the founder and CEO of Mallard Bay. And our product is we have a mallet platform for uh, all-in-one solution for outfitters and hunting guides and operators to manage their business. So the way that got started was I tried to plan a trip for my dad and I to go on a guided duck hunt in Oklahoma. And when we got there, we ended up getting double booked. So what was supposed to be 3 days of hunting turned to one hunt with 13 other hunters, and we didn't fire a single shot. So I was really curious as to
Yeah.
how if other people were experiencing the same problem in the industry. And
Yeah.
I'd been grown up hunting and fishing my entire life, and it was
Mm.
like a big inflection point for me to be a junior in college. And I started working for my dad's startup when I was about 16, and that company exited successfully, so it was a successful startup. And
Mm.
so that's what got me kind of interested in doing something on my own. At the time, I didn't really think that I would, and then kind of was off to the races from there.
Cool, cool. So like startup is in your blood.
Yes, yeah. It genuinely took me a little while to realize that. Like, I think a lot of founders have, struggle with imposter syndrome. And
Definitely.
when I thought back to like struggling at the beginning of like how hard it was to just go from an idea to an MVP, much less get to where we are now. It was definitely something I had to look back on as like, you know what, if I really think about it, my great grandfather was an entrepreneur, my grandfather was an entrepreneur, my dad
Yeah.
was, and now I am. And so, yeah, I had to kind of had that self-realization at some point.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's really cool. I mean, I think a lot of the thing that stops a lot of entrepreneurs or would be entrepreneurs would just be like the fear of starting. So I feel
Hmm.
like if you've had it in your bloodline, you kind of have overstepped that. Like you probably didn't have that fear because you've got generations backed up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing about it is when you've seen it done before, you actually kind of have this concept of you have this kind of like chip on your shoulder. It's like, oh, that's going to be easy. Like, if he could do it, I
Yeah.
can do it. And then you get slapped in the face really quickly and realize that, you know what, I definitely need to be listening to someone who's done this before. And like,
Yeah.
I learned a lot at the beginning. My dad would let me make my own mistakes, and he'd be like, don't do that. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway because I know better. And then sure enough, I just get slapped in the face and realize like, oh yeah, you can waste money doing things that don't work at the beginning, right? And you have this
Yeah.
preconceived notion of, hey, this is going to be easy, and it's just not.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's amazing. That's yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
So you guys do you guys connect tour guides or do you provide the tour guides?
So we're a software solution, and
Okay.
for we don't necessarily deal with tour guides. Like if you would think of like a raft guide or
Yeah.
paragliding or something like
Yeah.
that, we're extremely focused on hunting and fishing guides,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the vertical that we chose. And rather than
Yeah.
becoming a horizontal software, we're really focusing on the vertical of hunting and fishing and
Yeah.
going as deep as we can into solving all of their problems. I think
Cool.
fundamentally outfitters are doing this business because they're passionate about it, but they may
Yeah.
not be a natural business owner. Just kind of like I talked at the beginning, is like you learn a lot when you're starting up. And
Yeah.
some of these outfitters kind of relied on those sticky notes and paper calendars that, if you told me that I could only run my business on a paper calendar and I couldn't use Google Calendar today, it'd be like I'd be lost, right? But at the beginning,
Yeah.
I used to think that I could use Google Calendar, not have a strict schedule because, oh, that's the point of entrepreneurship. But really, ultimately, it's we're solving their problems. They're asking for help. They're kind of using outdated tools in the Stone Age, and we're like that
Yeah.
solution, the one stop shop for them.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I get
Mhm.
that. Because I don't want to be stereotypical, but when you do think about like people that hunt, you do kind of think about like people that are older and maybe not so tech savvy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. I guess yeah, there's a cool niche for that.
Yeah, ultimately it's about connecting people, right?
Yeah.
It's connecting someone that is looking to do an experience that they don't get to do very often, and they may
Hmm.
not have the means to do it themselves, so they're willing to
Yeah.
pay those that do, and those that have the experience and know where. I come from a waterfowl background, so I use it as an example. Know where the birds at, or so to speak, because they're migratory, right?
Yeah.
So you might be learning a lot about hunting and fishing during this conversation, but that's kind of something that, and I realized that the market was a lot bigger than I had initially thought when I got into it
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Thanks.
Hmm.
So what is your vision for your business? What's your long-term goal?
Yeah. So ultimately, like I said, it's all about connecting people,
Mm,
and really for us, it's about connecting generations of sportsmen together. So
yeah.
you have those older guides and older sportsmen and women that have been doing it for a while, and they want to pass it on to their children, but they may not have grown up with the same access to doing some of these things
Mm,
as some of us fortunately did. And so I think it's about connecting generations of outfitters and sportsmen together. But ultimately, like from a startup perspective, it's like we are going to become uh, the same as OpenTable did for the restaurant software market, right? So OpenTable
mm,
captured this market and became a leading marketplace because they built the software for them to manage their operations, and then they moved on to, hey, now anybody can book a reservation on OpenTable. We're going to do the same
yeah.
thing, but in the multi-billion-dollar outfitter software management market.
Nice, nice. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. And so what are some of the challenges that you are facing in your company at the moment?
That's a great question. Me personally, I think when you get to 27 people, like we
Mm,
have, culture becomes an extremely important thing. And if I wouldn't wait that long to focus on it. So I started focusing on culture right around the time we hit 10, because I knew
mm,
that there's kind of like this stereotypical, hey, once you hit 10, your culture is set. And so once I started to focus on it, I realized how much of the company's culture is baked within the founder itself, and how everybody kind of looks to you and you have to set the
yeah,
example. But sometimes I think founders think that, oh, well, you do this, but I'll do something else, right? I'm going to
yeah,
act differently. No, if you
yeah,
want them to act a certain way, you have to act that same way. Otherwise, you're completely undermining the culture of the business. So that was an extreme challenge, and something that as a founder and a CEO, you're constantly battling when you're, at anywhere plus 10 to 15 people, you're going to be battling culture and
yeah,
focusing on that. Right now, we're struggling with no shows, just in general, no showing for demos,
yeah,
right? So we have a
yeah,
demo process to show outfitters the software. So we're struggling with no show rate. So what are the tactics and the things that we can do to incentivize them to show up?
mm,
Asking the questions on, is this something we're doing? Is it just
mm,
them, the nature of their business? They're always on the road. They're on the phone. Maybe they just can't get on a demo this time of year to Zoom, right? Or we use Google Meet. We use Google Meet. But yeah, I mean that's kind of super important for us. And also, we're working on making our listings on our marketplace more consistent, more streamlined, and focusing on how each listing is synonymous and have the same information, and you get a kind of like a day in a life view of what
yeah,
is supposed to be on a listing, what helps them overcome their objections when they're trying to book, right? So those are just a few challenges. I mean, there's like a million of them, uh, but also we have a SaaS and a take rate model. So the balance
mm,
between the two, which percentages of the revenue, or what's the right revenue mix, and focusing on, hey, what can we do to drive one side, higher than the other, and vice versa.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's interesting. Working on an iPad app. That's something new. So it gives some physical network effect to the product. That's super interesting. And yeah,
Cool, cool, cool. So you've got the site, and then you're gonna add an app to it?
So we have a outfitter mobile app. Um,
Okay.
so our outfitters use a mobile app right now. Mallardbay.com is where you would go as a sportsman to book a trip.
Yeah.
We also integrate in our outfitters websites. So like we build them a website and then there's a book now button and then our software powers that book now button they can check out on their website.
Hmm.
Um, and the iPad app is really just a way for us to provide a physical aspect of uh, the booking process. Hey, here's this iPad, kind of like my dad did. My dad and
Yeah.
restaurants did at Waiter. They gave their restaurants an iPad, and like so did DoorDash and so did Uber Eats. Like that's where the orders come in.
Yeah.
That's how you get the orders. And
Yeah.
what that really causes, if you look like at NFX marketplaces, that's um, a physical part of the network, and there's all these different network ways to drive nodes in the network, and that just happens to be one that we're going to test out and see if it works.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Nice.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So, the last final question before we wrap things up, you did mention a lot of challenges, which is normal for a startup. So, what sort of help do you think you would need from our community, or what kind of assistance do you think you would be open to achieving, or getting past those
Yeah,
challenges?
yeah. I think right now, we're looking for a product marketer, right? Like not a full time product marketer. We're looking for someone
Yeah,
who is experienced in product marketing, is
yeah,
passionate about the outdoors and hunting and fishing, and is
yeah,
willing to, do contract work for the time being. I think that we don't have any. I know that we don't have any product marketers currently on team, and we have a really great product, and we're always building new stuff,
yeah.
and we're always solving customer problems. So like that's something that we're needing. And then, we are looking for like a more full-time growth marketer.
Hmm.
And so that's something that currently we're just looking for,
Yeah.
and looking to hire at the moment.
Mhm.
And then from the founders perspective, anything that you guys know about no show rates, or how to incentivize people to show up to demos, please feel free to to comment or shoot me an email. That'd be great.
Nice. Great. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Well,
Hmm.
thank you for your time. I know, it's very precious and you're a busy guy. So I do appreciate you showing up and
Hmm.
just sharing with me. It was really interesting because I'm not very well versed in hunting. So
Yeah.
it was interesting to go
Okay.
through your site and see just, that this is a market. This is people's lives and this is, this happens. So thank you
Hmm.
for opening my eyes, I guess.
Of course.
And
Of
hopefully,
course.
yeah, we can help each other,
Yeah.
move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so
Cool.
much, Izzy. I appreciate it.
No worries. Well, have a nice day, and yeah, we'll
Mhm.
we'll speak soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right.